Hi, my name is MinnesotaEric, and I have a problem. I've not had a haircut in over 6 months.
Okay, YouTube. So basically, this is the power cluster. I pulled one of the power clusters out, and I'm now getting quoted anywhere from $1,400 all the way for a OEM rebuild that looks just like this, only probably isn't yellow, and all the way down to an aftermarket alternative maybe that's $539. Depends on what the bore is of this master cylinder, the diameter of the bore rather. And so I want to take this thing apart. First off, I want to find out if I can rebuild this one. I don't know if I can or not. I don't have a helpful guy over on heavy equipment forum is trying to find if there's some rebuild parts available for the air side. There might be some rebuild parts from Napa for the master cylinder side, and I've got a friend that's got an acid tank. So in other words, we could gut this thing, throw it in there, and de-rust the whole thing very quickly. So that would be the way to go for that. But for right now, I've just got to start working on taking this thing apart to inspect it. Okay, so there is a spring behind this. And of course, because I filled it up with fluid, it's gleefully dripping away here. Does not appear to be moving on me. All right, chisel time. I just grab all of them from that one slot. Which chisel's right for you? I don't know. The one that fits. It's gotten humid and my garage door is closed because there's 1,000,000 mosquitoes floating around. So if you see me stop and start vacuuming, I'm trying to vacuum mosquitoes. Boy, I think I'm going to have to just let that soak. Yeah. I'm guessing that I can see where it's threaded in. I'm assuming that's a different piece, but this looks like it's rusted to beat. Oh, get out. The fellow kind of educating me online says if there's light blemishes of rust, then this thing can't be reused. So I'm going to guesstimate that that thing probably can't be reused. I don't know. Well, that's the... got a little warm there. I'm presuming this whole thing's going to try to fall apart. Yeah. All right. Oh, that's heavy. This son of a gun should be coming out. This is like a big washer, and then the inside this is the plunger. I'll tell you what. Moving it. Oh, there we go. There we go. Cheaper pistons will have just holes. But check this out. They've got to deal with the screen on here. Good design. That's some... this has been rebuilt once before. I can see that. And it's... I can feel some roughness right there. God, that's not cool. 0. We're in inches. We're looking for 1 3/4 inches. If we can do 1 3/4 inches, there we go. Then I can probably go with an aftermarket, unless we can find a rebuild kit for this or another one of these things. I think we can get a rebuild kit for these, for this. We're going to try to blow the guts out. We want to find out if there's a check valve in here. No. This is the rubber snubber that goes in front of the piston, which is actually what does all the work when the piston pushes on it. Oh, there's a spring right behind it, and you kind of want it to come out even. So I'm taking an air check and blowing in through where the brake there we go. Brake line would go in. More fluid coming out. Swing. Okay, so I thought I'd detail what the original OEM equipment on my Huff 80B came with, so that if you are like me trying to find a modern equivalent, you know what you're going after. First off, this is a Wagner Lockheed 1099F master cylinder, and it is got a, where is it? This is a 5 by 7 inch air cylinder that's pushing on it. This one is frozen, and I could not find an equivalent from anybody for this. So inside the bore, we've got a check valve. A lot of them don't have a check valve, so make sure that if you're replacing this, you get one with a check valve. And the way this goes in here is you've got your spring, return spring, you've got a cup that goes in here. Let's see if I can't kind of get this thing. I'm doing this one-handed without any lubrication. Alright, yep, sort of got it. Okay, then you got really good design. You've got a screen that keeps sediment out. This is the piston that's going to push on this. So this gets put in there. And then you've got a spacer that retains this. And then finally, on the spacer, you've got the snap ring that holds it in. So that's really just all there is going on this master cylinder. You have a bleeder for bench bleeding it. And in this case, there was a brake pressure sensor. Now, I've come up with an aftermarket solution. I know that using math skills, we figured out that this thing works from around 1400 to 1900 PSI, depending on where the air brakes are at either 90 PSI at the bottom or 120 PSI at the top, where it regulates at the top. And the only real difference that I came up with is that the OEM has got a slightly larger output on here on the outside, and I'm gonna have to just live with this. I can't drill out this little guy just because then I'll have trouble sealing it. But I was getting quoted, I thought it was going to be $600, but I was getting quoted around $1,400 by people who were acting like they're doing me a favor for rebuilt OEM versions of this, and I was like, that's nuts. And so I reached out to a company Fleet Products up in Canada. They got a favorable exchange rate with us. And I worked with them, and they held my hand, and we came up with an equivalent. The equivalent is primarily used these days on triple axle equipment trailers as the rear brakes to run the rear brakes, and it is pretty much identical in the characteristics. And so this is what we've come up with as a replacement. Their cylinder looks different. It's a 4x7, but it's still generating the same inside. It's still generating the same amount of pressure, 1400 to 1900. The master cylinder looks identical. I mean, except it doesn't say Wagner on it anywhere. And so this $535 plus for each, and then I think I paid $72 for shipping from Canada down here to north central Minnesota. So that's what I'm going to be doing, is putting on an aftermarket solution. And what I like about this is I can get rebuildable parts for the new stuff, whereas the old stuff, again, everybody's acting like they're doing me a favor, and they're jacking up prices, going, "Oh, he doesn't know any better." And I don't like that. I don't like getting ripped off. So now I'll have master cylinder power clusters that can be rebuilt, and just about any air brake shop can look at it and go, "Oh yeah, we can fix that." So that's making one less part on the Huff obsolete. Okay, so now we can see how the reservoir turned out. In fact, it's so clean now you can see it's made by Midland and Ross, part number, if I can read this, N-2769-0. Get this off. The inside didn't get as clean, mostly because it's pitted. It got clean, it's just really pitted, so you can see that. So wiped it down with oil. Keep the inside, so now it's ready for paint. So I'm going to be using a self-etching acid primer, which will adhere very good to a clean metal part like this. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I intend to paint this yellow, some kind of heavy equipment yellow at some point. Yellow is also federal yellow. Town and Country Tractor, Truck and Implement Spray and Enamel.